Hi, this is Joe from School Games, and today we're going to learn Turing Machine from Hash Games. This is a 1 to 4 player code-breaking game where you use these punch cards to determine what the final 3-digit code is. How does that even work? Let's go to the table and I'll show you how to play. To set up your game of Turing Machine, take the machine tile and place that out on the table, and take the tray of punch cards and place that in easy reach of all players. You will have to assemble this tray the first time you play, but it does go back in the box fully assembled, so you don't have to disassemble it each time. Then you need to choose a game to play. There's 20 printed in the rulebook, but they also have a link to their website where you can generate additional games at your preferred level of difficulty. I don't want to spoil any of the codes from your rulebook, so our examples will use a game generated from their website. For each game, it'll list the machines, the criteria cards in green, and the verification cards in either green, blue, yellow, or purple. In this case, machine A is criteria card number 4, so we will select that one from the deck and place that card by machine A. And then verification card 447, we'll find that listed on the outer edge of the verification cards, and there it is, 447. These cards get picked up throughout the game, so to remember where they go back, use the dry erase marker to mark the machine letter on the back and place that out on the table. Do the same with the other machines that are in play for this particular puzzle. Then give each player a player aid, which also acts as a privacy screen, and everyone will need a note sheet and a pencil. For the sake of this video, I'm arranging the machines so they're easily viewable here on the screen. In each round, each player will select a 3-digit code and write it on the first line of the note sheet. And then take a blue triangle card for the first digit, a yellow square card for the second digit, and a purple circle card for the third digit. If you're playing with more than 3 people and you run out of cards for a specific digit, you can share the card during the round. When you hold these 3 cards together, you will reveal a single square. You can then apply your code to up to 3 of the machines in the game. To do so, you'll take a verification card from the machine you want to test against. Place this card behind your codes lining up the circle, square, and triangle icons, and you will reveal a green check if your code passes the test of that machine, or you will reveal a red X if your code fails the test of that machine. Mark your results in the appropriate column under each machine's letter. Remember, you can only test up to 3 machines each round, no matter how many machines are in play. Then, using the information you've gathered, see if you're able to deduce the secret code for the game. Once everyone is ready, everyone holds their hands out in the middle of the table, and on the count of 3, simultaneously give a thumbs up if you know the code, or a thumbs down if you don't quite know the code yet. If nobody knows the code, start a new round by selecting new 3-digit codes for your tests. But if at least one person claims to know the code, then they will secretly compare their code to the answer key in the book or by using the app if the code came from the website. If the person guessed incorrectly, they are eliminated from the game. But if only one person guessed correctly, they've won the game. If more than one person has guessed the code correctly, the win goes to the player who used the fewest responses from the machines. And if still tied, the players share the victory. According to the criteria card for machine B, this machine will know if the first digit is even or if the first digit is odd. Because in our example, the solution is 332, we know that it has been programmed with the is odd logic. If we use this machine to test a code with an even number as the first digit, such as 234, it will respond with a red X, noting that our code fails the test that this machine has been programmed to respond to. If we use a code with an odd number as the first digit, it will respond with a green check for pass, because this code passes the test that this verifier is comparing against. Notice that the 1 is odd, but it is not the correct answer to the solution of the puzzle, being 3 as the first digit. This machine only knows one basic fact about the code, and that fact is that blue triangle is odd. Once we have figured out the criteria that the card is checking, we would make a note of that on our note sheet under machine A to say that blue triangle is odd. And once we know the fact that this machine is testing against, we no longer have to ask any more questions of this machine. Continuing with the same puzzle, let's go back to machine A. This machine has three possible facts that it may know to be true. Either the second digit, the yellow square digit, is less than 3, is equal to 3, or it is greater than 3. Now our example, the solution is 332. So we know, for our example, it has been programmed with this response of yellow is equal to 3. But how do you get to that? Well, let's say we had tried this code 123 against this machine. We would take the card, line it up to the back, and reveal a red X. Now, what does that mean, the red X? Well, it means we have passed in a middle digit of 2, which is less than 3. So we are suggesting that this is the code or the logic that the machine has been programmed to know. And it responded with an X. So it is not this particular logic test. Now, if we did the same test with our 234 code, we would get a green check. And again, following that same logic, we are proposing that the yellow square is 3 and that 3 equals 3. And we are given a response of positives, of yes. So that would mean, yes, the machine is responding to that middle criteria. We would then write that criteria again on our note section in machine B. And once we know which criteria that this one is using, we no longer have to ask this machine any more questions. Moving on to machine C, this one also has 3 criteria listed. And this machine knows which digit is smaller than the other 2. And is not equal to, and it must be smaller. So again, our code, 332 as being the solution, I know for right now, it is programmed as a purple circle is less than blue triangle and yellow square. So how do we get there? Well, let's ask it a code, and if we send in our 234 example, in this particular code, we are suggesting that blue triangle is less than yellow square and less than purple circle. And when we do that, we get response of false or fail. And why is that? Well, we proposed this to be the test that this machine is programmed to understand, and that is not true. So we could eliminate this from our criteria. If instead we used a code such as 531, in which the purple was the smallest digit, we get a green check. Remember, doesn't mean that 1 is the correct number. It just means that our pattern where purple is the smallest number matches what this machine has been programmed to recognize. And as I mentioned, the equals to, if we send in a code such as 522, there is actually no digit in this particular code where one digit is less than the other 2. So no matter what program this machine understands, we will always get a red X. This particular code would not be a good one to submit against this machine. Next, we'll look at machine D. This one has 4 criteria listed, and the machine knows how many digits are even in the final solution. And there's 4 possible answers, either 0, 1, 2, or 3 of the digits are even. Now, if we already had additional information from other machines, such as we learned from machine A that the square middle digit is the number 3, and we also learned from machine B that the first digit triangle is odd, then we can already eliminate the 3 and 2 even number choices. However, beyond that, this machine works the same as any other machine, and when you pass in a 3-digit code, such as 234, it will respond accordingly, and in this one, we get a red X. We passed in 2 even numbers, and that says false. If we passed in our 123 code with 1 even number, we will get a true response. And finally, The trickiest machine in our particular example, machine E, knows if the digits are in ascending order, descending order, or in no particular order. Now, I say this one is tricky because two things. Number one, they don't have to be sequential. In other words, they don't have to actually be 1, 2, 3 to be considered ascending. 1, 3, 5 would also be ascending. But in our example, 3, 3, 2, we actually have two numbers that are the same. For the purposes of this machine, that means the digits are in no order because the first digit 3 is not greater than the next digit 3 and is not less than the next digit 3. So that is considered in no order. So to wrap up this puzzle, here's how we would deduce the code using the information we've received from the machines. Machine A told us that square equals 3. So we can circle the number 3 under the yellow square here and cross out the other digits. Machine B told us that triangle was odd. So for now, let's cross out the 4 and the 2 underneath the blue triangle. Machine D tells us that there is one even number. We already know the square is a 3, so that's odd, and we know the triangle must be odd. So that only leaves the circle or the third digit to be even. In that case, we can cross out the 5, the 3, and the 1. Now, if we go back to machine C, machine C told us that the third digit circle was less than square and less than triangle. And if that's the case, we already know that the square is 3, so the circle can't be the 4, it must be number 2. But with this same test, circle has to be less than triangle, so circle as compared to triangle, the triangle can no longer be a 1. And then if we go to our last machine, which said the digits were in no order, we only have 532 and 332 remaining. 532 would put the digits in descending order. It can't be that one. That leaves us with 3, and we have made it to our puzzle solution of 332. In our example, we've been using the classic mode of play, in which there's one criteria card assigned to each machine, and all the games in the rule book are on the classic mode. The next level to make things a little more challenging is called extreme mode, and in that case, 2 criteria cards are assigned to each machine. Now, it works the same way in that each machine is only programmed to know one statement. It's just that it's one statement on 2 cards, not 2 cards both. If you take all the statements on both cards combined, it only knows one of those statements to be true. Now, the tricky thing is there's going to be a positive response on the second card, so you first are going to have to eliminate which card might not be the correct one for any given machine in order for you to narrow down what is the correct response. That one gets a little bit crazy. But if you master that challenge, then you can go on to the next level called Nightmare. And that one we go back to just having one criteria card per machine, but you don't know which criteria card belongs with which machine. You're just given 5 criteria cards and 5 machines, or 4 criteria cards and 4 machines. And through process of elimination, you have to figure out which card belongs to which machine, and then you're able to determine which response is correct, and then you can finally determine which code is correct. Once you find that classic mode to be simple, you'll find out quickly that extreme and nightmare modes can be quite the challenge. And that's Turing Machine. I really do enjoy this game. I really enjoy using these punch cards to hold them up against the answer key and just see how they work. That was just really satisfying and fascinating at how they put that all together. I wish the publisher included 4 copies of each digit. There's only 3 of each, and that does slow things down at the 4-player count. But that doesn't affect my normal 2-player game. I do highly recommend this game if you like logic deduction style games. If you like this video, please hit that like button down below, and if you have any questions about some of the more complicated machines, put those in the comments and I'll answer those when I'm able. Until next time, thank you, and I hope to see you around the table.
You rumskull.